One of the things that we talked about in Prashanti is, I don't want to call it a rebranding, but that if you're in the business world, that sort of sums it up. What we are going to do for the 100th birthday is we're going to reintroduce Swami to the world, and we're going to focus more on the teaching, because his physical form is gone, and for a lot of people, darshan, samadhi is not that convincing. But we have such a treasure of spiritual teachings and hands-on practical teachings that we can, first of all, practice ourselves and share with the world, because I don't know if you've noticed, but the world is a little bit out of balance at the moment. So we have a lot of responsibility and the tools that we can help ourselves and others. And I think that is something we need to do, because just serving among ourselves and getting together for bhajans and nice coffee and everything, it's nice, but it's not what Swami would want us to do, right? You know, we have to share this, go out. And one of the things that Swami actually taught a lot was yoga and breathing. And for the 100th birthday, we're going to have a project. We're going to comb through all the discourses and publish a book, a collection of what Swami says about yoga and teaching and meditation and kundalini and chakras and all those things. Because that is very interesting to a lot of people, and I'm living proof here that it actually works, because in 1998, Swami in Whitefield doing darshan told me to do kundalini yoga. I had no idea, basically I had no idea what that was, but now I'm a teacher and I've been doing it and teaching it for 25 years. And it helped me a lot in all kinds of contexts. So that is something that I would like to share with you. And this is actually a talk I gave, a 45-minute talk last year for Zone 5, Singapore, Thailand, Taiwan, all those places. Because over there, a lot of people are scared of their, I don't want to use the word, but let's call it mental decline as with increasing age. You know, some people call it dementia, some people call it Alzheimer's. And there's so much research on yoga and meditation and the brain and the nervous system that it would be a shame not to do something while you can, because that stuff actually works. I was really excited that they actually that breathing and meditation works on the brain is not a secret, but they actually recently, a couple of years ago, had a study that doing yoga postures actually affects parts of the brain. So this is not voodoo, guru, esoteric crap. It's actually working. First of all, it has a long tradition, and the old guys who came up with this, the rishis, they probably knew what they were saying. But if you're the scientific, the modern guy type of person, relax, go online, you will find hundreds of studies that prove that yoga, meditation, breathing works, benefits your mental capacity, your mental clarity, your decision making. It relaxes the parts in the brain that go for emotions. You know, they call it hot and cold memory, like for trauma therapy, for example. A hot memory is something that you have to act on. You know, you get agitated, like a car accident. And the whole point about trauma therapy, for example, is to make a hot memory a cold memory, so that you can think about the car accident or whatever trauma you had and not be affected by it. And, surprise, they found one of the reasons to do this is yoga and meditation. Would you believe it? Because yoga and meditation relaxes the brain. So that is something we talk about. It was a long class. We had about 230 people. I know about, I don't know how many, but a lot of people from the UK missed it because Zoom didn't count in the time change of the summertime. So we're going to have a class on this specifically for you, for our zone. And I'll be conducting it, but this is what we're going to do. And because the interest was so great from Zone 5, we're going to make it into a 9-class concept online over at least 6 weeks between the modules. It's going to be about 45 minutes, and it's going to be primarily practice. So, of course, I'll be talking a little bit, but the main focus is practice. Because knowing something is nice, but it doesn't help. You have to actually do it. And once you do it, you feel that it's actually working, and you're inspired to teach others. So at the end of my talk, we're going to do a little breathing exercise to change. So we got to wrap that up. Now, I would need the slides that originally were purple. You just quickly go through them. You know, Tattvas, gunas, elements, you've all seen that before. We're going to go through that. This is what we're not doing. And yeah, okay, go on. Okay, now we need the other set. If you have another set. If not, I do it by memory. Okay, anyway. The other talk, I'm just going to summarize briefly. We're going to have a separate online opportunity for you to join in. The US has a spiritual leadership program online, and once they're through, we are going to borrow it. And they asked me to teach one module in December, and it's called it was about conscious leadership. And just to bring out a couple of highlights while they look for the slides, is how to be a spiritual leader, since you're all office bearers. And I noticed that it says Active Worker Conference. So while I was sitting there, I was contemplating, is there a passive worker? Does that make sense? No, not really. So, of course you have to be active as a worker. You cannot be a passive worker. So we all need to do, and of course you all know in one way or another, you have to inspire others. You know, leadership is something that is overused, and because a lot of people think that leadership is something that you just tell other people what to do. And of course that's wrong. And you all know from your lives, just by telling a person what to do, it doesn't really help. So you need to inspire them, you need to encourage them. Sometimes you need to show them, because they don't know how and they're afraid to ask. And since we're in a spiritual organization, there is no job. You have no responsibility. You cannot, you know, in the business, they have the carrot and the stick. We don't do the stick. We do carrot only. Or, what's that sweet called? What do you have? Anyway, carrot. Just think about the carrot. So you need a different way of approaching people on how to do things, because we all need to get stuff done. Because sitting on your couch and chanting and singing bhajans, nothing's going to happen. And we have these things, and Pratap said it earlier, that we have the centenary celebration, and the Indians have a lot of plans for that, and we should as well. So for all of you to take home, there are 3 areas I'd like you to think of. You've probably done this, but this is just sort of my homework for you. Because we only have like barely 18 months, and time flies. You all know that. So think about what you want to do yourself, your personal sadhana for the next 18 months for the 100th birthday. New, you only. Then there's a family, maybe, if you can think of something, a communal center, and then of course country and zone. We'll get back to you on that. So just think about it. It doesn't have to be big. And since part of the idea is that we play Sealing on Desires, I know it's not very comfortable and not very popular, but still it's a very important concept, especially if you figure in the environment. Now I had to fly here, there was no other way, because I don't like tunnels, to be honest. So I had to fly here. But to keep the environment in mind and do the Sealing on Desire, also, not just money, but also, time, energy, focus, that is also a sealing on desires. Spending hours on your phone, checking your Instagram and whatever, is not helping you. Most of the time, it's not helping you. Consuming news all day long, it's not helping. The world is still out there if you leave your phone off for an hour. So that is something. So one of the things that we're going to focus on in the future is we're going to do more yoga and more meditation, because after all, Swami asked us to do daily meditation. It's in the 9-point code of conduct. And very few people do. I don't know why. I've had side devotees in Germany say, oh, Swami told us not to meditate. Like, where, how? No. He didn't. He asked us to do meditation. And if you don't know what else to do the Jyoti meditation. So one of the things that's coming down the pipeline is an international online training to be Jyoti meditation. Well, we don't want to call it teacher, but like instructor or facilitator or something. So that is something you might want to be interested in, because the Jyoti meditation is very unique to Baba. It's very simple because it has no spiritual mumbo jumbo in it. So anybody, atheist, Muslim, Buddhist, Catholic, whatever, there's no religious constraint about the Jyoti meditation. You know, you don't visualize Baba, you don't visualize Krishna, or whatever people do, or the Tibetans, they visualize all kinds of Buddhas, which is helpful, but it's just their not ideology, their ideology, whatever the English word is. Sorry. So, Jyoti meditation is something anybody can do. Breathing is something everybody can do. Baba taught several breathing techniques, and of course there are other things that we're going to be talking about this. But coming back to the spiritual consciousness, is the most important thing is, do we have them? Yeah. No? Those are the blue ones. I need the other one. Anyway, so the first part is that conscious leadership is you need to take your ego out of the equation, because ego kills team spirit. Ego is competition. Ego is this, I win, I do, I know, I'm better. We don't want that. First of all, we don't want that for spiritual purposes, but at the same time, we don't want this for practical purposes, because it's not helpful. You know, this, I told you so, I'm right, it was my idea. Yeah, nice, but let's move on, because it's not helpful. So one of the things as an office bearer, you always are well advised to keep the bigger, and of course, no, too bad. I know him. Anyway, so one thing you're always advised to do is when you talk to people, and there will be conflicts when you're dealing with people, because some people feel off balance or whatever, is you always keep the larger good, the greater good, the larger goal in the room. Don't focus on the person, focus on the process. And imagine there's a slide with a G-O bracket O-D, because you can play with good and God. Yeah, it's just an O, a zero. You make yourself a zero. Anyway, it would have been a nice slide, but you get the idea. So if you have a problem with people, always focus on the process, get the things done, and tell them the end result. It's not about something, even if somebody messes up, you know, don't make a big deal out of it. Don't scold them or anything, just move on. Because I've never met anybody who messes up on purpose. Never, ever. Not in business, not in the science organization, not in yoga, not anywhere. If people make a mistake, something goes wrong, it happens. Just move on. This is the ego part. You don't tell people, it's not helpful. By the way, Baba tells us, don't criticize people, which doesn't mean that you can't address things that go wrong. You have to, because it's not all happy. Baba says, there's a balance between good and bad, and you have to accept both. And there's actually a term for it by now. It's called toxic positivity. Have you heard that? You know, all these people that said, I don't want to hear anything negative, everything is positive. No, it's not. There's a war going on. It's not positive. But sitting at home contemplating the war and the horror is not helpful. First of all, you cannot change it. I was just told they had 1 million people marches here for Palestine. Didn't help. There's still disaster going on. So be careful with your personal energy and your attention, because energy flows where attention goes. It's an ancient saying. And this goes for us as well. That's why Swami says focus on him, because if you focus on him, that's where your energy goes. That's where your attention flows. But there is stuff you have to do in your life other than focus on him. Because after all, we are his instruments and we're supposed to do his work. Of course, he's behind everything, but he's not going to come down from heaven or wherever he is and, serve the people in your community. You have to do that. That's our chance. That's our, maybe obligation. But first of all, it's our chance. It's a benefit. We are part of this organization. We are his, how do we say? Inheritance doesn't sound right in English. We're his legacy, let's put it that. So we keep his teachings alive, we keep his spirit alive, and we try to share it. And I think my 20 minutes are up, right? 5 minutes? Okay. Now, 2 more things. The conscious leadership, we don't have them? Still not? Okay. Never mind. Okay. So discipline is very important. And this goes back to the yoga, the breath, and the meditation part, because the first duty, your first discipline as an office bearer, is your personal discipline, your personal sadhana. Because people will know if you do what you talk. You know, authenticity, they say, is the currency of the current age. And to ask people to do something you don't want to do yourself, or even can't do yourself, is not helpful. You know, that does not mean, for example, I teach yoga, so I'm not asking my students what I cannot do myself. Understand what I'm saying? So you have to practice. And if there's something you can't do, you can tell them, well, I can't do this because of this and this and this, but I would like you to try. Or maybe you can do this. But you have to start at yourself first. And people will notice if you do this. If you're all agitated in your mind, you can't tell them to relax and calm down. If you're late, if you're unprepared, if you're messy, whatever, you can't tell people to be orderly, on time, efficient. So you have to lead by example. And this starts in your personal sadhana because people will know. And scientific research shows if you meditate, if you do breathing exercises, your mental clarity, and thereby your vibration, your aura, whatever you want to call it, your ambience, your radiance, I guess the word is, will change and will affect other people. And we know this. If you're calm and you go into a room with agitation, you can calm the room down, but not by being agitated yourself. And the best and quickest way to lower your level of agitation is meditation, chanting. Of course, bhajan singing is nice, but do this every day because it's a constant effect. It doesn't have to be long, like 10, 15 minutes maybe, that's enough. But it's a constant practice, and with meditation, it grows over time. So that is something I would like to share with you, because you have a responsibility to pass this on to others. So it's your personal sadhana, it's your discipline, it's your focus, and also it's your love. Brother Pratap said it, we want an all-inclusive community. We don't want to judge. In my hotel, I was surprised that we tell people not to judge. And even in the lift, there's a little QR code. It's like, how's your experience? How's your breakfast? How's your room? How's your this? How's your fire extinguisher? You're supposed to judge everything all the time. For what? Who cares how I feel about the fire extinguisher or the lift, So we have to counter that a little bit because it's not helpful, because it creates a judging mindset. And we want a relaxed, inclusive mindset. And it's very difficult, I know this from experience, because it goes a little bit against our Western, what they call Western culture. But we have to try. We can't get sucked into this judging and liking and disliking and all that. It's not, we're all one. We're one family, we're one planet, and whatever problems we face, we can only solve together. Okay? And we're little beacons of light helping the greater good of God. Okay? So, with my final 2 minutes overdraft, I would like to share a breathing technique. You can do this as a breathing technique or as a meditation. So put your feet down. It's a classic. It's called alternate nostril breathing. There are 2 variations. I think last time we did the simple one. Now we're going to do the more advanced one. So you're going to take your right thumb, close your right nostril, and breathe in. Then you're going to take your middle finger, close the left nostril, and breathe out your right nostril. Then you breathe in your right nostril. Hold. Take the thumb on the right nostril and breathe out the left nostril. So it's a complete cycle. In left, out right, in right, out left. And this actually, and there have been studies, you can feel this, but if you don't feel it, just take my word for it. This balances your brain hemispheres. And the better your brain hemispheres are balanced, the better you're thinking. Because you balance between, well, roughly speaking, between rational and creative. You know, and our brains is always leaning to one side. They say the rational is the male and the creative is the female. I don't like this gender type of thing because we all have two brain sides, so we're all a little creative and a little rational. But the focus is, yes? What was the question?
Why do you start on the left side when you take the inhale? Why on the left side?
Why? Okay, the simple is because that's how it's been done for centuries. The more in-depth answer is that because you start on the left side, which is the moon side, the female side. I don't know, can you still say female? Is that racist? Anyway, so because we have a left side, a moon side, and the right side, a sun side. This is what Hatha is, moon and sun. And when sun and moon come together, stuff happens. Okay? You can do it the other way around. It's not, you know, it's just this is, because you start, the left side, the moon side is relaxing, and the right side, the sun side, or the Chinese call it yin and yang, is active. So if you want to get into meditative state, you start on the left side, because by breathing in through your left nostril, you start to relax. Okay? Now to confuse you, if you just want to relax, just breathe in and out through your left nostril. Like 2-3 minutes, maybe 5. If you want, like in the morning, you need some activation, you can breathe through your right nostril. Like maybe you have to go into a meeting and you have to grin somebody, or you have to give a talk at an active and passive worker conference. No, I did my yoga this morning. But no, it's practical, you know. You can feel this, you do it, and we're going to do it for a minute. You can feel the difference. I've done this alternate breathing technique with CEOs. 2 minutes, I mean, most of them are stressed up the whatever, but after 2 minutes, even they feel a difference. And the important thing is experience. Don't take my word for it, just play with this. 3 minimum is the 3 minutes, sorry, is the minimum. Pranayams usually develop the greatest power between 10 and 15 minutes. But if you do it for 15 minutes, take a few minutes after, don't get up and rush to the bus, because after 15 minutes of this, you'll be relaxed. You can do this in the morning, you can do it during your lunch break, you can do it in the evening, just play with it. And the good thing is for breathing, you don't need an empty stomach. For most yoga exercises and meditation, a more or less empty stomach is recommended, which is just physical, because when you breathe and you move and you have your lunch, but anyway, but for breathing, just try this. You know, lift in, yeah, perfect, thank you. No? Inhale through your left nostril, exhale right, inhale right, exhale left. Okay, and if you're interested, I'm going to be in touch with the team, and we're going to have a full class on this, and also a full class on the conscious leadership. About 45 minutes, we'll let you know. Thank you. Saidam.